Thanks. Appreciate that, Farmer. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome back to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. Today, we're going to be talking about Abby and Libby's case out of Delphi. It's been a little bit of talk about Keegan Klein today, and a lot of talk about Richard Allen's recent motion for a speedy trial or an early trial, to be specific. Welcome in to the live stream, Daily Survivor, Derek Farmer, Cindy Hudson, my guy Brad. Welcome in from a great podcast, Outside of the Grid. Beach Fairy, we've been talking about you. Hey everyone, guess who finally got Wi-Fi installed at their new place today? Well, that's two good pieces of news. One, you got a new place. Sounds like you got out of the neighbor of hell situation, which was awful. And you're back online. So welcome back. Everybody's been missing you. They've been asking about you. So welcome back. Horihito, welcome in. No FX, good to see you, my friend. Yep, hit that like button. Thank you, Beach Fairy. Daily Survivor, True Crime Housewife. Rescue, welcome in. Good to see you, Rescue. Hope you're having a good day. I would lose my mind. Yeah, I mean, it's probably healthy to get the internet shut off, honestly. Doesn't seem to be helping society much. It's definitely an awesome tool for sleuthing, that's for sure. What's up, V Marie? Welcome. Patricia Warner, welcome in. Nana, hello. So I think that's what I want to talk about, really. Motion for the speedy trial. What might have been going on in Richard Allen's head if he is the bridge guy, right? What was he thinking? What could have brought this kind of a crime on? I'm starting to believe he was a fantasy-driven killer, if he's our guy, right? That's why you see this thumbnail here. Now, what if he's been down to that crime scene? This is an image from the crime scene if you walk right up to the edge of the water line and look over to the Monon High Bridge. And if you notice, you can see it through the trees. Guarantee you can't through the majority of the year, but around February, you can. So did he stand in this very location and tell himself, man, it would be easy for me to commit this type of crime? All I would have to do is force somebody down the bridge across the water to this very location, my special location. That's why, to me, it doesn't matter when they found that bullet. They could have found it in 2015, or it could have been placed there in 2015 and found in 2021. It really doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't. Maybe to a jury it does, but to me, it doesn't. You were there that day. Why were the girls found right here in a location nobody really comes to? But you obviously do, because we found an unspent shell here. So to me, that tells me that that spot that the girls were found would, no matter what, is special to this person. It would connect him to the crime scene no matter what. Good to see you, V. Jill Moser, what's up? Anna, how are you? Another interesting graphic that says a lot. The mind of a creep exposed. Yeah, I'm starting to learn a little bit more about fantasy-driven killers. So I'm wondering if constantly in his head he's thinking, well, these certain things would have to be right in order for me to really think that I could get away with it. And that could also explain why he was at the that specific bench, right? He even tells law enforcement, "Yeah, I went to the bench." He's telling his half truth. I believe him when he says that. Let me share my screen real quick. Okay. So this is the view that you would have if you just got dropped off at the Mears lot and you were walking towards the Monon High Bridge. So Abby and Libby came right through here. And I have a feeling Richard Allen was either sitting at this bench here, or walking towards it, not far behind Betsy Blair. Now, why would he come to this bench? You can see who's coming and who's going. So this theory kind of fits into the lone wolf and probably paints a more realistic picture of exactly what happened. Richard Allen can really only explain his mindset. We know he lost his brother-in-law. His daughter moved out, was getting married. Who knows what other trouble he was having? Maybe that caused a lot of other issues. Was he angry at the world, triggered by Abby and Libby? Or, like Redfoot was talking about earlier in the Discord, was he finally free to be himself? As Redfoot put it, he let his freak flag fly. I thought that was a very interesting look at the situation. Either way, the recipe is he had time to himself, alone time, to live out his fantasy. And think about the time frame. If the information provided in the PCA is accurate, now we're going to read that, the most updated version of that PCA that was released. Frank posted it in the members only Discord. Thank you, Frank. We'll take a look at that. But think about the time frame. Betsy Blair leaves at 2:14, and the girls are attacked at 2:15. So if he's sitting at this bench, he has a clear view of Betsy leaving. Nobody on the trail for some distance, right? You can see all the way down this trail towards the Freedom Bridge. First, not completely. You can see right down this direction. And if he's the bridge guy, right, he just came from the Monon High Bridge. So he knows it's 100% clear in this direction. He knows it's clear in this direction. And the only person that he knows to be on that trail is now getting in their vehicle. That means the only people on the trail that he knows of and that he can see, he just passed, and they're walking towards the Monon High Bridge, where he knows for a fact there's not one person. It's completely clear at this very moment. Is this what he's been fantasizing about? Sitting on this bench days prior to the murders, maybe even years ago, 2 or 3 years prior. Man, if this situation just happened, I could go ahead and fulfill these fantasies here. It would have to be a perfect situation. And we did a live stream a long time ago called the Goldilocks effect, right? It had to be just right. Is that what happened? I'm trying to explain away any reason why he would be targeting Abby and Libby specifically. Doug Carter asked, why Abby and Libby? Does he still have that question? Or does he have more of an answer to it now? I mean, seriously, why Abby and Libby? We know, if Richard Allen's the guy, we know why the trails and why the bridge. Because he's thought about it before. All I got to do is force him to the south end and down there, and I can leave without being detected. Back my vehicle in way over here. In his mind, he probably didn't think that there would be any connection. And even if there was a connection, you didn't get my license plate. Right? Which was true. Didn't have his plates. He made sure of that. Okay, so he walks to the bridge. He's hanging out at the bridge. Betsy Blair walks to the bridge, sees him, and then continues on her walk. He follows her out. Maybe he was targeting her. He says, well, I was alone on these trails. She's the only person here. I'm going to get her. Follows her out to about this point, and this is when Abby and Libby are walking towards the bridge. They take a left here. Betsy Blair passes them, continues on her way. And here comes Richard Allen just behind Betsy Blair, passes the girls. Maybe even they exchange words. Maybe he said, oh, you here to meet your underwear model boyfriend? Or, hey, girls. And they're like, oh, what the fuck? He goes and sits down on the bench. They continue on to the bridge. And he may even be able to walk down the 505 trail right here and get a better look at the bridge. He may even be watching them at this point. Okay, so he would be probably somewhere hidden right here around 205. And here comes Betsy Blair back up the trail. Doesn't even see him. He's probably back here somewhere behind these trees, maybe a little bit down this trail. And she just takes a left to the Mears lot. Doesn't even see him down here. He's watching her though. He's like, okay, the only person on the trail is now leaving. She actually goes and sits in her car, I believe, for a moment or two. So he's thinking the only adult, the only person left on the trail is now in their vehicle. I'm going to do it. So at this point, he walks directly to the bridge and he made the decision to attack the girls. But why? Was that his purpose? The only reason he wanted to go, and this is trying to fit the lone wolf into the facts of the case. I can't wrap my mind around it yet. This way, it's a lot easier for me to do that. It would explain why he was walking with purpose, right? He's already out of his mind that day. Somebody's going to feel his wrath. He's at a boiling point. Maybe even himself. Maybe he's considering that. He's prepared to do some kind of damage. We know that. Passes the three girls with a looking angry, mad, walking with purpose. So what if his purpose is just to, I don't know, scope out the trails, do a little reconnaissance, walk down to the bridge, see who's on the trail, see who's coming and going. Okay, I've walked the entire trail. There's nobody down there. So I don't have to worry about anybody walking up from the bridge. The only people on the trail are now leaving. And maybe he was sitting on the bench waiting for the other girl, those three girls to come back even. Maybe they'll come back this way. But this would be the area a lone wolf would be sitting. He can see everything from here. Welcome in, Julianne. Good to see you. Shane, how are you? Debbie, welcome in. Shout out to Texas. No Effect says, I saw on YouTube video yesterday that Nick McClelland is somehow related to Libby, like his sister is married to Derek German or something in that family. Is there any way that's true? Is that a COI, conflict of interest? I don't see why it would be. What's up, Brown Skittle? Sleuth, I don't think they'll offer Richard Allen a plea if Kagan is talking. Saw you on Justice Served Cold Channel. Yeah, CJK posted the link in the Discord, and I went and checked it out. They were talking about Keegan Klein, and I think wife Lilith posted some stuff on her channel too about Keegan Klein. So it looks like he's been moved, and it wasn't announced. And also, they're not allowing him to have any devices or any way to communicate. So I wonder if that's strategic or if it's just something you got to wait on, and eventually you'll get those back. But I thought that was interesting. I always suspected, and this is because after watching the Supreme Court and that whole process, it exposed the strategy on both sides, the defense and the prosecution. On the defense side, it kind of exposed what they were doing with the speedy trial, right? Now we see that that's what they did. And that boat has sailed, by the way, right? I think I have an image I wanted to show you guys regards to the speedy trial. So that's it. That ship has sailed. Right? So them filing a speedy trial is just to do it in namesake only, right? So if they do go to a trial, they say, well, we filed for a speedy trial. We did file. I mean, that's a fact. But you can't have a speedy trial now. No matter what you did, there's nothing speedy about it. You could have it today and it wouldn't be speedy. So that's how I feel about that. And here's another illustration I did. All right. Arrested October 28th, 2022. Speedy trial would have been right in here somewhere. After the craziness, the new trial date, October of this year, and we're right here somewhere. So, like I said, that ship has sailed. If you wanted a speedy trial, this is when it would have happened. This doesn't look too speedy to me. But now they can factually say, we filed for a speedy trial. Not to mention they could continue to delay it. There's only a few ways that once it's been filed and accepted by the judge that you can delay a speedy trial. And that would be Richard Allen. One of the main ways would be Richard Allen himself. So, well, anyway, when it comes to the strategy, that was their strategy. So we can only expect that the prosecution will kind of expose their part of the strategy. Maybe a CI that they haven't talked about, or a CI that they had attached to another case and they didn't want to talk about it, or they didn't want to bring it forward until they were forced. Now they might be forced. Maybe that's the whole reason for them filing for a speedy trial, to expose certain strategies from the opposing side. Kind of like poker. You get to a certain point where you have to show your cards. It's all been bluffing and checking and betting and back and forth, and a lot of bullshitting back and forth. But eventually you got to, if you're going to go all in, you got to show your cards, right? Or the other person has to fold. So that's what Richard Allen will eventually do. He will fold his cards and he will take a plea deal. If they offer him one, I don't know what's going on with Keegan Klein. He may not be connected at all. But right now, if there is anything going on with him, this would be the moment in time that we would hear about it, right? Kind of like the whole Patrick Westphal and Brad Holder stuff and the Odinism angle, or even the Ron Logan stuff. The prosecution didn't put any of that in the PCA. Who knows what they have on the back burner, but We know ever since Keegan Klein went to Grissom Air Force Base, everything has been listed confidential. And I believe he was listed as a confidential informant. Everything sealed. So I don't know who's going to have access to that. And if it's not attached to the Delphi case, or listed as evidence right now anyway, they don't have to show it as discovery. But once they say, okay, we're moving forward and we're going to use this CI's information, and they could have other CIs. This could apply to anybody, people we don't even know about, maybe a witness or somebody who's come forward after the fact. And if they're not attaching it to the Delphi case right now, there's no reason to talk about it, right? Until there is. So I figure if there's anything like that going on right now is the time we would hear about it. And that might be the reason for them filing for the speedy trial, to squeeze that out into the public. Everything is about time. Okay, we have this amount of time. If you have anything you're gonna add to this as far as discovery, you only have a certain amount of time to do it. What's up, Rob? Welcome in, Celis, Misty Free, Sparky. What up? Good afternoon. What's up, Sees Through? Kristen, good afternoon. What's up, Pimp? Paper Pimp. I'm doing well. Yep, all good things. People were just worried about you, missing you, wondering what happened. What's up, Kels? Good to see you, Cindy. Welcome back, Farmer. Tattoo, what up? Oh, hope you got a good appointment today. Good luck. CJK, what's going on? What happened with that live stream? I wasn't able to catch all of it. I went back to the beginning and tried to figure out what was going on. I guess Keegan Klein was moved and nobody was alerted. Even people who have registered as his victims were only recently alerted. I think it was like yesterday. So the same time they filed for a speedy trial is when that information became public. So I don't know if that's just a coincidence. Most likely is, right? But there's been some talk about it. What's up, Hiawatha? What do you think about KK getting moved and reduced sentence? See, I don't know about the reduced sentence part. I haven't verified it, but I find it all interesting, right? We knew from the Supreme Court and all that, the hearing that took place, we knew that there were strategies that they've been hiding. Lawyers have a million tricks up. They have a million ways to screw you and get unscrewed. So Nick McClellan was a very successful attorney himself. So really what you're seeing are two huge egos going head to head right now, right? That's what we're witnessing. So if there is going to be anything as far as what was hidden in their strategy from the prosecution, I've been saying it in the Discord, now's the time we're going to hear about it, right? So, and if now's the time we're going to hear about it because they're being forced to acknowledge it and present it to the defense, right? It's all dominoes, chess, whatever you want to call it. Well, this would be the time, in my opinion, Richard Allen would be like, oh shit, so he is talking. I do need to make a deal. So that's one thing that we've learned through the whole process of the Supreme Court and the way they handled that mess is that both sides have strategies that we had no clue about. And they got a million ways to manipulate the system to bring that information forward. We can sit here and we can talk to all the defense attorneys and prosecutors we want. People have worked in the court system, but we really don't know what strategy they have specifically. It's just like they could do this or they could do that or they could only do this. Well, not every attorney is going to know what these other attorneys have planned or up their sleeve because it could get turned down. Even though they present it, it could be like, well, I see what you're trying to do, Nick, but we can't do that. I'm like, it's not legal. I'm not going to approve that. But anyway, what I'm saying is that they both had strategies and it wasn't made public. We knew that Richard Allen was sitting on the whole Speedy trial. And that's why I was so confused. I remember saying, didn't he waive that? Did he file for it? What the hell's going on with the Speedy trial? Well, the confusion was by design. The whole lie about catching Nick on his back foot, that's bullshit. Nick's waiting. He's ready to go. And Richard Allen ain't stepping one foot in that courthouse for a trial. No way. Unless there's some information that we're not privy to. Unless he comes out and drops a bombshell. Like, it was a ritual and I was part of it. Or it was a gang initiation and I was joining a gang. Right? But they don't want that story to be talked about in the courtroom during a trial because it's just ridiculous. It's completely ridiculous. And if there is any truth to it, they don't have any of the proof that they need to convince a jury. That's why they're not going to step into that courtroom, in my opinion. Whether or not, in spite of this speedy trial motion, in spite of it, they can file it. It's going to be a namesake only. And then they're going to manipulate the process moving forward until a deal is provided to them. All right, let's go to the chat for a little bit. See what you guys are talking about. What's up, Mary C? Welcome in. V. Marie, reduced sentence. Must have missed that. Apparently, it happened today. So I haven't had time to kind of look into it or verify any of that information. So if anybody has factual information on what's going on with Keegan Klein, because I just find it strange. Just yesterday, I was talking about how if the prosecution is going to do anything, now is the time we're going to see it. Now, right now. What's up, Leslie? Yeah, this is a very strange case. Seems to, I mean, if you ever just think back to where we were 2 years ago looking into this case, I mean, we were so lost. If Richard Allen is the bridge guy, we kind of forget how great it is that they captured this man. How awesome is that? That they caught this bridge guy, the killer of Abby and Libby. We kind of forget if he's the guy, which I'm pretty sure he is, how great that is. How great that is for Delphi, how great that is for Abby and Libby and for Indiana and for us. What's going on, Beth? I'm sorry to hear that, Cindy. If you need anything, you got us. Shane says that spot was some comfort to him. I personally think he felt secure and had a getaway plan. It all went south, but he did pick that location. Yeah, I have a feeling only a few things went wrong. He expected to dominate these girls. And I think that that's going to be the essence of Abby and Libby's story when it's all said and done, is the fact that they did put up a fight and that they didn't leave each other. I'm not going to leave my friend so that you can just do what you want to do and I'm safe. They didn't make that decision. So, regardless of what happened with the video, they were heroes for each other. Imagine dying alone to the hands of a monster. They had each other. I'm sure they were looking at each other like, I'm here for you. I'm here with you. I will not leave you. Regardless of what the hell is happening to us right now and this fucking psycho that's here. Regardless of that, I'm not going anywhere. I don't know what's happening. I can't wrap my head around it, but I'm not going to leave you. That will be the essence of this story. And how courageous is that? I know grown men who would have ran. Yeah, there may have been some kind of conversation. Daily Survivor says, I think they wanted um, interest. They were interested. He was interested. But they may have rejected him, may even made fun of him, blew him off. I just can't get it out of my head that he said something, that he was there for those girls. He was waiting for them. And it scares me to think that he said something like, oh, you here to meet your underwear model boyfriend? Because we've covered a lot of stories about incels where they catfish people and they show up, some to do harm and some just to terrorize their date. But they'll sit down at the table and the female will look shocked. She'll be like, do I know you? And he'll be like, oh, well, you're here to meet your boyfriend, right? You're here to meet your date, the model, the good looking, successful model, right? That's who you're here to meet, isn't it? And they're like, how the hell did you know that? Well, because that's me. I just catfished you. And I tried to talk to you as a normal person and you denied me. Now, all of a sudden, I make a fake catfish account and everybody wants me. It drives these incels crazy. They don't realize how easy life is if you're just yourself. Just be yourself. Everything will fall into place. Well, nothing's possible without God, first and foremost. But I hope, well, if Anthony Shots has anything to do with the luring and the grooming of Abby and Libby, that's most likely what did happen. Like, oh, you guys here meeting some handsome boys, or what are you doing here? Like, oh, what? Like, why are you talking to me? Because if Richard Allen knew these girls and was online stalking them, to him, he would already feel like he knew them. It wouldn't be anything to talk to them. Oh, there you are in person. Like, hey, like, oh, I have inside information about your whole life, and you don't even know it's me. And they're like, oh, who is this creep? But he's comfortable. He feels like they're best friends already. Like, you guys have no idea that I know you and that I've been watching you. To them, he's just some creep that just happens to be there. But if he's waiting on those girls, he knows where they're going, what time they'll be there. He knows they're crossing the bridge. And he's just waiting patiently for them to get close enough to that end where it no longer matters. That's the part that scares me. Because that means there's multiple players and they were able to keep their mouth shut. Yep, he had a perfect view from that bench. Right there. He just came from, and this could explain why he parked at the CPS building. He needs to get his eyes on the entirety of the trail. We'll start with the CPS building, and once I get up near the Freedom Bridge, I can see what's going on at that parking area up above. All right, there's only one or two vehicles, or maybe none at the time. So really, if he's planning an attack, all he needs to do is walk to the bridge, come back, and sit down on this bench. He knows there's nobody behind him, there's nobody ahead of him, and nobody trying to sneak up through the Mears lot. There's no school today. My wife is in Peru taking care of my mother-in-law. I'm doing it. I'm going to get some power back in my life. I'm in control. He may have even got off on everybody talking about the bridge guy, everybody looking at the video, trying to figure out who this guy is. Is it this guy? Is it that guy? All these stupid conspiracies. Oh, the corruption, blah, blah. He's like, haha, getting off on it. I even think he gets off right before he comes into public from the back room where they're going to walk him from court back to his van. If you watch him very closely, before he steps out into the public eye, he has this smirk on his face. I'm going to put it together for you guys and I'll post it for you. Every time it's like a weird little cocky little smirk on his face. And then the second he takes that step out, it's poor, pathetic little me. But no, he's getting off on it. He loves it. It's energizing him. It's what's kept him going. Him sneaking into the Facebook groups, seeing how wrong we all are. Like you guys are not. It gave him comfort, I think. All right, let's take a look at the PCA. I mean, it's basically the same, but I should read it and play the timeline, but I think we'll just look at these photos. Okay, let's take a look here. That on February 14th, 2017, victim 1 and victim 2 were found deceased in the woods approximately 0.2 miles northeast of the Monon High Bridge on Carroll County. Their bodies were located on the north side of the Deer Creek. At the time, the Monon High Bridge Trail was an approximately 1 mile gravel trail terminating at the Monon High Bridge. The Monon High Bridge is an abandoned railroad trestle approximately 0.25 miles long, spanning the Deer Creek and Deer Creek Valley on the southeast end of the trail. Approximately 0.7 miles northeast on the trail from the northwestern edge of the Monon High Bridge is the Freedom Bridge, which is a pedestrian bridge spanning State Road 25, approximately 350 feet west of the Freedom Bridge was a former railroad overpass over Old State Road 25. So they talk a lot about Old State Road 25 in the PCA. It basically ties their timeline together, ties everything, right? Because you have Kelsey who says, "Oh yeah, I saw the girls walking over the bridge, over Old State Road 25 bridge," right? And then apparently Betsy Blair said the same thing. While I was coming, I saw the girls walking overhead over Old State Road 25. So that ties everything in. You know, it's like a cross verification. Through interviews, reviews of electronic records, and review of video at the Hoosier Harvest Store, investigators believe victim 1 and victim 2 were dropped off across from the Mears farm at 149. Okay, so 149. I have a feeling Richard Allen is walking from the Monon High Bridge back towards that bench, right when they were dropped off, probably. Right as they were dropped off, he's walking back. Betsy Blair passes them. She continues towards the Freedom Bridge. Richard Allen passes the girls and then sits down at the bench. The girls continue on. And I think Richard Allen right then and there started thinking, Those are, they could be my target. And then when he sees Betsy Blair leave, he knows then and there he's made that decision. As soon as he sees her walking back to her car, he just starts going. He's already off. Through interviews, reviews of electronic records, and review of video at the Hoosier Harvest Store, investigators believe Victim 1 and Victim 2 were dropped off across from the Mears farm at 1:49 p.m. on February 13th, 2017 by Big Sister Kelsey German. The Mears farm is located on the north side of County Road 300 North, near an entrance to the trails. A video from Victim 2's phone shows that at 2:13 p.m., Victim 1 and Victim 2 encountered a male subject on the northeast portion of the Monon High Bridge. So it would only take probably maybe 4 minutes to walk from that bench to the Monon High Bridge. So once Richard Allen saw Betsy Blair walking back to her car, he didn't sit around. He said, okay, that's the last person on the trails. I'm going. I'm alone with these two girls. I'm going to go do what I need to do, and I'll be out of here in 15 minutes, was his plan. I'll be out of here in 10 minutes. Nobody will even know. I had my face covered the entire time. The video recovered from Victim 2's phone shows Victim 1 walking southeast on the Monon High Bridge while a male subject wearing a dark jacket and jeans walks behind her. See, this part right here confuses a lot of people, but you got to remember they edited the video that was released to the public. So you're not going to see any of the victims. I think the closest you get to that is an elbow, and we don't even know if that's Abby or Libby. I have a feeling they switched hoodies, and this is something that only the killer would know. Hey, when I approached them, it was Libby who was wearing the gray jacket, and Abby was the one wearing the black hoodie. For all we know, they took a photo of her, and maybe she wanted to change her jacket or something. I don't know. Maybe she was like, oh, I don't like this jacket. Let me have your hoodie. So maybe the killer didn't swap their hoodies. Maybe they swapped them on their own. But only the killer would know that. Interviews were conducted with 3 juveniles. They advised they were on the Monon High Bridge Trail on February 13th. They advised they were walking on the trail towards the Freedom Bridge. So these are the things that they're going to say in a courtroom. Like, hey, it was 1:26 and we were leaving, going towards Freedom Bridge, as they encountered a male walking from the Freedom Bridge towards the Monon High Bridge. Okay, and they've already pretty much verified the person they saw is the guy in Libby's video. So how is he not there at 1:30 if he's walking past them at 1:30 going towards the bridge? Richard Allen is not going to answer these questions in a courtroom. There's no way he's going into a courtroom to live this out. He's not going to do it. I can tell that just by him being so quiet. He's just waiting for it all to run its course. Right? He's waiting for everybody to have to show their hands. Right now, he can still check. Right? He's checking. Checking and bluffing is what he's doing. He will never show his hands. He'll fold those cards before that ever happens. BW showed investigators photographs that she took on her phone while she was on the trail that day. The photographs included a photo of the Monon High Bridge taken at 12:43 p.m. and another taken at 1:26. So 1:26, they're more than halfway through the trail. They're past the Mears lot. I think they're at the last bench before you leave. And there's pretty much a bench like every minute of walking up until the final bench that I think is the 505 bench. And then it's from there to the bridge. There's nothing, I don't think. So they leave that area just shy of coming onto the Freedom Bridge. And that's where they see Richard Allen. right? If he's the bridge guy. Those are the same 3 girls that Richard Allen says he saw. They saw him, he saw them. Now, how are you going to tell me that he wasn't there at 1:30 when that's when they saw him? What did he do? Get out of his car, walk, see the girls, and say, "Oh, I'm out of here. Oh, good walk today. I made it to the first bench. I'm out of here." No, we know that's not true because he was seen walking all the way to the Monon High Bridge where it would be impossible for him to be out of there by 1:30. He was seen at 1:30, and he still had 13 minutes of walking, 10 minutes of walking just to get to the bridge if he was walking as fast as he could. BW described the man she encountered on the trail as wearing a blue or black windbreaker jacket. She advised the jacket had a collar and he had his hood up from the clothing underneath his jacket. She advised he was wearing baggy jeans and was taller than her. She advised her head came up to approximately his shoulder. Okay. And I hear some people getting caught up on that, saying BW was super tall. She wasn't tall at all. And it's not like she walked up to the suspect and said, "Hey, let's put our backs together. I want to see how tall you are." Up, there you are, just over your shoulder. No, she's trying to remember something that she shouldn't. There's no reason she should remember this guy. Seems like he's gone his entire life being unmemorable. Okay. Investigators spoke with Betsy Blair, who advised she was on the trails on February 13th. Video from the Hoosier Harvest Store captured Betsy's vehicle traveling eastbound at 146. So he's already on the trails, right? He's already walked from the CPS building all the way to the Monon High Bridge, which is about anywhere between a 10 and a 13-minute walk. Toward the entrance across from the Mears farm, Betsy advised she saw 4 juvenile females walking on the bridge over State Road 25 as she was driving underneath on her way to park. Betsy advised there were no other cars parked across from the Mears farm when she parked. So she just passed Kelsey. So as she's coming, Kelsey's leaving. Nobody's parked there. Kelsey had just left the parking area. She advised she walked to the Monon High Bridge and observed a male matching the one from victim 2's video. She described the male she saw as a white male wearing blue jeans and a blue jean jacket. Okay, so what if Richard Allen walked out onto the bridge to see if anybody was underneath, to see if anybody had crossed and was hanging out on the other side, and if anybody was directly underneath on the north end? Is that why he walked out there? To get a good look. His victims are coming, and he's doing more of his recon. Or is he planning to attack Betsy? Video from the Hoosier Harvest Store shows at 1:49 p.m. a white car matching Kelsey German's vehicle traveling away from the entrance across from the Mears farm. Betsy advised she finished her walk and saw no other adults other than the male on the bridge. Her vehicle is seen on the Hoosier Harvest Store at 2:14 p.m. So that means she went to, by the time she probably went to her vehicle at probably like 2. So Richard Allen sees her sit in her vehicle at about 2 o'clock, maybe 2:05-ish, right when Abby and Libby are taking that first Snapchat photo on the bridge, the 2:05 one of Abby. Right at that time, I think he started heading their direction. Just enough time to kind of look down the trail, notice that nobody's at the Mears lot, and nobody went up the trail because he just came from there. It's a Goldilocks scenario for him, for his sick fantasy. This is what he's been waiting for. Maybe he's gone to that trail to kill before and things just weren't right. Betsy advised when she was leaving, she noted a vehicle was parked in an odd manner at the old Child Protective Service building. Now, the defense team is trying to have the public believe that it was some old Comet vehicle. It looked nothing like Richard Allen's. See, this information will fool the majority of people on like YouTube and social media because it's feeding into their confirmation bias anyway. So that's what the defense team is doing. But this shit won't fly in an actual courtroom because they have to verify it. Even us sleuths who have been able to talk with people mentioned by the defense, anything that we could verify was proven to be a lie from them. And there's a handful of items that we've been able to take from the defense memo that was leaked, ask the source, what are you doing here? It says, well, I'm not doing what they said. This is what I'm doing. In every instance, in any piece of verifiable info, they were lying. They have no intentions of taking that story, the whole ritualistic stuff, into a trial because it's all paper thin. And that's why all the Richard Allen lovers eat it up because it's paper thin. They want to be like daddy. Investigators spoke with Sarah Carbaugh, who stated that she was traveling east on 300 North on February 13th, 2022, and observed a male subject walking west on the north side of 300 North away from the Monon High Bridge. Sarah advised that a male subject was wearing a blue-collared jacket and blue jeans and was muddy and bloody. She further stated that it appeared that he had gotten into a fight. Okay. So the leaked memo would have you believe that this is a huge lie. Right? This part is just a huge, big, fat lie by Tony Leggett. The male subject was wearing a blue colored jacket and blue jeans. They're trying to say, no, she never said that. Remember, every piece of information that we could verify in that memo was a lie. So for me, it is safe to say that they are telling another blatant lie that Carbaugh never stated he was wearing a blue colored jacket and that he wasn't covered in blood. Just like their timeline bullshit. Oh, Richard Allen left at 1:30. Okay, well, where was he? Oh, he was home alone by himself. Oh, okay, so nobody can corroborate that. She further stated that it appeared that he had gotten into a fight. Investigators were able to determine from watching the video from the Hoosier Harvest store that Sarah Carbaugh was traveling on CR 300 North at approximately 3:57 p.m. Through interviews, electronic data, photographs, and video from the Hoosier Harvest store, investigators determined that there were other people on the trail that day after 2:13 p.m. Those people were interviewed, and none of those individuals encountered the male subject referenced above, witnessed by the juvenile girls, Betsy Blair and Sarah Carbaugh. Further, none of those individuals witnessed victim 1 and victim 2. So after the bridge guy came in contact with the girls, nobody saw the girls or the bridge guy. That's because he was in the woods and escaping through most likely the cemetery. Let me go back one. Investigators reviewing prior tips, right? I think this comes from Keegan Klein here. Because it is a truth. It is the truth. It was a prior tip. So they're not telling any kind of lies here. Investigators reviewing prior tips encountered a tip narrative. Now, if they were just going back and looking at information like they're supposed to, right? Like they said they would do from the beginning, that's what they would state here. They would say investigators going back to the beginning to review prior tips encountered a tip narrative. That's not what they're saying here. They're being extremely vague for no reason at all. Richard Allen's narrative stated, was on the trail between 1:30 and 3:30. He parked at the old Farm Bureau building and walked to the new Freedom Bridge. While at the Freedom Bridge, he saw 3 females. He noted one was taller and had brown or black hair. He did not remember description, nor did he speak with them. He walked from the Freedom Bridge to the High Bridge. He did not see anybody, although he stated he was watching a stock ticker. See, and I think Richard Allen says weird shit like this, watching a stock ticker, because he's trying to create this character to whoever he's telling the story to. Right? I'm not some scumbag. I'm doing normal things. So I believe this is what Richard Allen, this is his opinion of a normal act from his perspective. I was looking at a stock ticker. I wasn't tracking the girls, right? Which was what he was most likely doing or possibly doing. I wouldn't say most likely, possibly. He stated there were vehicles parked at the High Bridge Trail, however, did not pay attention to them. He did not take any photos or video. And then there's some cell phone information. Who were the 3 girls walking in the area of Freedom Bridge? Investigators discovered Richard Allen owned 2 vehicles in 2017, 2006 black Ford Focus, 2006 gray Ford 500. Now, my theory is that his wife was in the gray Ford 500, 2006 gray Ford 500 in Peru, not at home. And that's why Richard was out doing what he was doing. All right, let's skip on down. Let's go to the confession part. I want to talk to you guys about that before we get out of here. Okay, on October 13th, investigators executed a search warrant of Richard Allen's residence at 1967 North Whiteman Drive. Among other items, officers located jackets, boots, knives, and firearms, including a Sig Sauer model P226, 40 caliber pistol with serial number U625627. Between October 14th, 2022 and October 19th of 2022, the Indiana State Police Laboratory performed an analysis on Allen's gun. Now, remember, they had served multiple search warrants before Allen and compared 40 caliber firearms and did the same test that they did here on Richard Allen with their firearms and unspent shells. No match. No match to any of those bullets. If they would have matched, those people would have been arrested, just like Richard Allen. Instantly. But there wasn't a match. But there sure as hell was one here. An identification opinion is reached when the evidence exhibits an agreement of class characteristics, matching lines, serrated lines, and a sufficient agreement of individual marks. Sufficient agreement is related to the significant duplication of random striated impressed marks as evidenced by the correspondence of a pattern or combination. And this is going to be up for debate. So what I'm hoping for is that there is no room for debate and that it's a 100% match. They seem confident in it. Nobody's going to buy that law enforcement planted the bullet. Nobody's going to buy that Richard Allen just happened to be walking through there and dropped the bullet prior to it. It doesn't matter when he dropped the bullet. He is tied to the crime scene. Okay, here we go. Upon Richard Allen M. Allen's arrival to the facility, he was placed on suicide watch because of certain statements he made about harming himself. So everybody is like, well, oh man, I'm outraged. I'm outraged. Hannibal, they're treating him like Hannibal Lecter. Okay, let's take your advice and let's just let him kind of walk around all willy-nilly and see how long it is before a child killer, which he probably is, sticks that pen that his attorneys just gave him into his own neck. How many times do I got to show you guys videos of people trying to cut their own throats in prison, stabbing themselves, jumping off top tiers? It does happen. He's being protected from himself. He needs to face justice. There is enough evidence there that he's got to answer for it, guys. So if you think he looks like this, it's to keep him from shoving a sharp object or cutting his own throat. He does not want any part of this scenario. He probably wishes he would have done something to himself before he got busted. But it's his damn ego that caused him to kill those girls and also to cause him to think he could get away with it, in my opinion. Okay, we'll finish up here and then we'll spend some time in the chat. I just want to read a little bit more here. Okay. Oh, let me go back. Throughout his stay, his mental health improved to the point that he was taken off of suicide watch. He was also participating in recreation time and beginning to exercise. The facility reports that he was doing well and that they had no issues or concerns. His day-to-day demeanor was that he was quiet, read a lot of books, and did crossword puzzles and exercised daily. So it was these activities, I believed, that told Richard Allen that maybe my life isn't over. You know, I'll tell him what happened. My family will forgive me. I'll spend the rest of my life in prison, and I'll do crossword puzzles and read books all day and get a little exercise. Maybe it's not that bad. On April 3rd, 2023, Richard M. Allen made a phone call to his wife, Kathy Allen. In that phone call, Richard M. Allen admits several times that he killed Abby and Libby. Okay. So this is when he's at his most comfortable that he makes this admission. And I'm hearing rumors that he gave details about the motive to some of the medical staff there. You know, maybe he felt bad. He's sitting in a room as an accused killer, and these folks are trying to talk to him like he's a human being, right? And he's telling them, well, this is why I did it. You know, I feel bad, or, you know, providing details. In that phone call, Richard M. Allen admits several times that he killed Abby and Libby. Investigators had the phone call transcribed, and the transcription confirms that Richard M. Allen admits that he committed the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. So this could be the very reason, right after they file for a speedy trial, that you had the prosecution request all of the medical documents on Richard Allen. So this is the next step for the defense, right? Now they're going to go after the confession because they're not going to a trial, guys. I'm telling you, they're not. Richard Allen cannot face the truth on this one. So this is their next step, to try to get rid of this confession or to poke holes in it. The prosecution has the transcription. They have the transcripts, and I'm sure that the defense has them too. If they were anything helpful, them shits would have been leaked also. Okay, soon after, attorneys, right? And this is when they freaked out. This is the whole explanation for why Richard M. Allen's defense team did what they did, while there was the leaks and why we had all of this chaos, because it all came right after this. Soon after, attorneys for Richard M. Allen filed an emergency motion to modify safekeeping order. In that motion, the defense states that Richard M. Allen's mental state has declined. Right? Another lie. But that's the only way they can get it done. And that he should be moved. Defense also makes allegations that his mental health has declined. So if you were to ask the defense team where to move him, of course they're going to say something that's close to them, right? They don't give a shit about him or anybody else. They don't want to drive so far, which I agree with. They shouldn't have to defend. And if they do, and I'm sure that they're not having to pay for any of it. Defense has also challenged that his treatment is unconstitutional. Soon after, investigators were made aware by the warden of Westville Correctional Facility that Richard M. Allen began to act strangely. So this was on cue, right? This is this shows the sophistication of Richard M. Allen as a criminal, if he's our guy, right? Richard M. Allen was wetting down paperwork he had gotten from his attorneys and started eating it. He was refusing to eat, refusing to sleep. So Richard Allen's defense team tells him, this is what we need from you, right? This is the direction we're going, and this is what we need from you. Well, this is Richard Allen's response and his way of interpreting what they're asking. I'm going to act crazy, right? The old mafia boss in the wheelchair, wearing nothing but a robe, walks into the courtroom with his head hanging to the side, you know? Oldest trick in the book. All right, let's see what you guys have to say about all of this. We're pretty much done with this live stream. We're going to finish out with the chat here. Hey, what's up, Anthony? I've got to go perfect if it's a chance encounter. Yep. So he's been fantasizing about it, maybe even hikes down to where the crime scene was. Thought, man, if I was going to do this, and on his way out, you know, he's walking past a father and child, thinking, well, I couldn't do it if there's people like that on the trail. So it would have to be a clear day. And I wonder if he even thought, I don't know if he knew that it was a snow day. Why would he? He didn't have any young kids. Was he there targeting a grown woman, maybe? We know in the Rachel Morin case, they saw her attacker weeks in advance, kind of lingering around the trails. And she would go hiking there probably the same day, all the time. Was he there for Betsy Blair? Was he there for somebody else? And seeing the kids, maybe he thought, oh, well, they're ditching school. They're supposed to be at school. All these kids are out here ditching. Maybe that gave him a false sense of security. What's going on, Charlotte? Anna72 says, Cindy Lean, stay strong. We got your back. What's up, Tech? Good to see you. Jamie Hicks in the building. Welcome in, my friend. Connie Hill. Oh, did I miss GP? Welcome in, GP. Good to see you. Hiawatha says the Supreme Court told them to file for a speedy trial at the trial court level. Well, they can't tell them what to do. They can't tell them to file for a speedy trial. They stated in that proceeding that they planned, that it was part of their strategy to file eventually, but then all of this stuff happened. What's up, Saska? Oh, I missed a super chat. Sorry about that. Let's see. Charlotte says, so very lovely to see you all. Thank you, Sleuth. A pleasure. Really is rather lovely to be in here with you all. Fondest love to those struggling. Thank you, Charlotte. Positivity goes a long way. I mean, you can just feel it. Feel it, you know, building you into something great. Just keep spreading that around. Shane says, so you think the speedy trial is a bluff, Sleuth, knowing they won't get it? No, they're going to get it, but there's nothing speedy about it. Is what I'm saying. They passed that threshold. There's not. They can never have a speedy trial now. There is nothing speedy about it. If they wanted a speedy trial, we would already be months into the trial. Right? It would have happened here. Well, this is where we are now, and they're barely requesting it. So there's absolutely nothing speedy about it. What speedy trial? If he was an innocent man, he's already provided plenty of time for any defense. That ship has sailed. But now, no matter what, they can say that they did it. We filed for a speedy trial. Okay, when? Oh, a year and a half after he was arrested. That's not too speedy. What's up, Cynthia? Good to see you. Me too, Daly. I don't know. Maybe it has something to do with his appeal. Keegan Klein is at the Miami County Correctional Facility. No, he's not. He was. He hasn't been there for a while. What's up, Jerry? Leslie says, Sleuth, do you know where KK was moved to? Let me see. I think I grabbed a screenshot from Wife Lilith's channel today. Let me see. This is what she posted. It says, was transferred again from Michigan City Prison to Newcastle Prison. He was transferred on 2/20/24, but info wasn't updated. The SAVIN is basically, if you're listed as a victim of this person, any activity on his end will be reported to you through this system here. Savin. Until today, 3/7/2024, which was yesterday's date, or today's date, sorry, he is in PC, protective custody, and currently unable to speak with others. So I don't know if that's standard or if they're keeping him from talking with the public because he's a witness or something. So that I don't know. It's all news to me. No, I heard it was that he had a shortened sentence. So I don't know. Yeah, that's right, Anthony. Interesting if true. And it may be unrelated to Delphi, right? But I still feel like Keegan might be part of some kind of hidden strategy, right? No need to bring it to the surface until you need to bring it to the surface. What's up, She Warrior? Brown Skittle says KK was moved to Newcastle Prison. Leslie says Frank is the Doc Master. Rescue the Doc Meister. Hey, what's up, Gail? Heard a law in Indiana would force speedy trial due to number of days he has spent in jail. Yeah, very strange. I mean, he couldn't have a speedy trial now if he had it today. If they're like, we're having the trial right now. Yep. She-Warrior, I agree. He's getting ready to plead. So the way it's playing out in my mind is prosecution's going to go ahead and show their hand. And then it's going to come a time where everybody has to show their hands. Richard Allen will fold, take a plea deal. What that'll be, I'm not sure. Maybe just the death penalty taken off the table. What's up, Teresa? How long can prosecution wait out before they submit anything else? They don't have to submit anything unless it's new, unless it's part of the discovery, to the public anyway, until trial. So they're not in a hurry for anything. You know, they want as much time as they can. That's why it's not in Richard Allen's best interest to wait. As an innocent man, you don't want to give your accusers time to accumulate more damaging info on you. You want to say, right now, damn it, show me what you got. If I'm guilty, you should be able to prove it right now. That's not what happened with Richard Allen. Like he could go in that, he could be yelling, I don't know how the hell my bullet got there. Somebody's trying to railroad me. I'm being framed. None of that. Frederica, wouldn't Frank know about what's going on with Keegan Klein? Not sure why he would know. And if he did know, if Keegan Klein knew anything, prosecution wouldn't be doing a very good job of keeping that information out of the public. I think there's a reason he's not being provided a tablet or things, because when he has information, he blabs. We saw that that's what happened when he was in jail. Whether it was lies or not, he blabs. Whether he thinks he's providing misinformation, you know, maybe Nick said, don't go around talking about what happened. So in his dumbass mind, he's like, well, I'm going to make up a fake story. You know, and they'll be really happy, you know, that I'm over here giving misinformation and not telling them what we're up to. It's better just to cut him off from the world until it's all said and done, if he's involved. Miss F says, I believe there are no coincidences. Coincidences or connections? Plenty of coincidences. We can go all day and list the coincidences. But connections, you might be right. We haven't found anything solid. All right, let's go to a couple more, and then I got to bounce. And we are having our members today. Sorry I had to reschedule yesterday, guys. Rescue. Abby and Libby have taught us all so much. We owe their families so much respect for making good people in this world. Yeah, we've learned a ton. The awareness alone brought by this case, but I still don't think it's worth the sacrifice that was given. Nothing is worth that. And it's like our brain blocks out that part, right? What a real tragedy it was. What really happened? The terror. We're just like, oh, it's a true crime case. Ooh, let's talk about, you know, maybe we can figure something out that's helpful. No, like this was a real nightmare. Mark Odell always felt that Richard Allen and Ron Logan were in cahoots. I don't know why you would think that, Mark. There's absolutely not one fact that shows that they're connected or that he would planted the bullet. It's a strange theory. But yeah, could have. Could have. But what leads you in that direction? Pure fantasy, or do you have, you know, reason for going in that direction? What's up, Candace? What's up, Rain Dancer? Yep, 100%. Good to see you, Miss Thang. Welcome in. Lala. All right, guys, that is going to do it for my time. I appreciate all of you. And members, I'm going to see you a little bit later. So shout out to everybody who was able to catch the live stream. On that note, thank you for watching the Sleuth Intuition channel. If you are part of the replay crew, you know what to do. Drop a comment and let me know what you think. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay in the loop. Sleuth Intuition is 100% crowdfunded. If you want to support me and help my channel grow, here are 3 ways that you can help. Number 1, Cash App. The funds go directly to me without YouTube taking a percentage. Number 2, become a member. Members are by far the leading contributors to my channel. Number 3, hit up the merch shop. Represent the Sleuth crew on these ruthless streets. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the Sleuth Intuition channel. I'm your host, Patrick Vallejos. Until next time, peace.